Greetings, I'm Professor Seth Frey, and you've made it to your first lesson of the first module, and your first lesson, very possibly, in computer programming. So this lesson, I'm really going to introduce you to the environment that you're going to be learning Python in. There's very little code or programming in this lesson. We're just going to show you the code notebook format that you're going to be experiencing. It's different enough from what you've encountered before that I'm giving a special short, I'm devoting the first week, a short special lesson just to this. So you can imagine, so what you're looking through here, this here, you've made it this far. This is a code notebook. This is like an interactive textbook. It took some work to get here because it's a special environment. It's a textbook that you can play with and interact with. All of these lessons have text that walk you through and explain you what to do, and they have special formatting for when you're encountering code. Code's always going to have this sort of special formatting, this special environment. We're going to distinguish text blocks, that's what these are, from code blocks, that's what this is. What makes a code block different? Unlike the equations that show up in your old, in any old math book that you ever showed with, this code can run. There's a play button up here. I can hit run, and we actually get we have an output here. The code in the block is considered the input, and the result of that we get as an output. We get the right thing. In this case, this code actually is Python. Python here is just acting like any calculator you've played with in your entire life. But the point being that we ran part of our textbook and we got an answer, and we can change part of our textbook and get an answer. So 4 plus 7 is something different. It is 11, right? So these are really simple explanations because I'm providing the most gentle possible ramp in the code. I want this course to be as accessible as possible to the people most intimidated by this subject, because I think this is an empowering thing that anyone can benefit from, and I want to provide that to you. So you've made it as far as opening a notebook and running something in it. We've already been able to edit something. We can edit the code in the notebook. I'm going to introduce one thing you're going to encounter a lot of is something we're calling commenting. So this is a code block. It looks like text, except there's this hash in front of it. If I try to run this, something good's going to happen, which is nothing. Nothing is going to happen. Why is that? This is a comment. I have this. This is English. It's not instructions to code. It's sort of instructions or notes to myself. I signify that to Python, to the code. I tell it to ignore my notes to myself by putting a little hashtag in front of the line. If I got rid of that hashtag, the color changes, and Python starts to think it should do something with this line of code. And if I run it, something scary is going to happen. Something scary, awful, and hard to understand. There's going to be all these red colors and all this meaningfulness. I don't know what syntax is really, or why there's no space between the word syntax and the word error. I just know something went wrong. We can avoid all that by putting hashtag in front, and then nothing will happen. Nothing is good. Okay, so this is going to happen a lot, which is why I'm introducing it so deliberately. We'll write notes to ourselves in code blocks sometimes as a separate step from writing notes to ourselves in text blocks, like here. Now, if I were to uncomment something that's valid text, it'll run. If I recomment that back in, it won't run. If I put a comment, if I put a hashtag in the middle of a line, everything before that will run. This should add sum to 13 and give me an output of the number 13. And everything after the hashtag won't run. This is how comments work, and comments are just a really elementary part of me giving you instructions and showing you within the code how to tweak things and change things. A midline comment is going to be useful if I want to give you instructions about a specific line. Hey, this is the line to pay attention to. change this line. Hey, this line goes to the internet. The one above it, the one below it don't. This one does. The ones above it and below it work with the results of going to the internet or prepare you to go to the internet. So I can give you really more details about what every line does and make every step as clear as possible. Okay, so we've changed the notebook and we have up here unsaved changes. I want you to, you'll be submitting a lot of your work in this course through notebook chapters that you've modified and saved and resubmitted. You're going to save by hitting the save button or by going to File, Save As. But don't change the title name or anything. Keep this title name up here the same. Okay, so this is the basics of the environment. And the last thing I want to demonstrate is copying code. Copying is sometimes good, and I'm sometimes going to encourage it. I'm encouraging it right now. So another assignment from this module is to work through a demo showing how we can interact with Google Translate. And what I want you to do now is get that code working in this notebook. It's already written. All you have to do is copy it. Why would we do that? Well, so much of the beauty of code is that it's written by other people, and we get to use their code and run it and do fun stuff without all the work. And what that means, what that comes down to, is copying, which is sometimes a great thing to do. It's bad if you're cheating yourself out of an education. And I'll make it clear in this class what copying is good, what copying is bad. But a lot of the sort of high-level stuff, maybe once you know what it does or you know the basics, which is a lot of the level I'm going to be asking you for, copying is a great idea. So what we're going to do, what am I asking you here? I'm saying in this week's demo, that's a different file, a different code notebook file. There's a lot of demonstrations using Google Translate. Let's see, get the first example from that notebook working here. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. Here's that other module, the demo. The other assignment in this module, the demo. And let's scroll down. Where are the translations? They're right here. This is the first demo. The wind is ready, but the meat is weak. So I'm going to copy all this. Okay, and I'm going to copy. Okay, great. I'm going to paste. I'm going to do the middle one or the bottom one. And I'm going to run it and everything will go great. No, actually. I haven't, my instructions here say that you will also have to copy the boilerplate code that sets this code up. So I'm going to, so what you have to do here is take all of this code. That's not the actual code. It'll be different code in here. And paste it above. It's got to be above. The boilerplate comes first. Code runs from top to bottom. You can't get something on the bottom working unless everything above it has already run. Once you run this, then the code below it is going to run fine. And if you've gotten it working and you get the exact same sort of response that we start a back translation of this phrase through all 100 languages on this notebook, the lesson notebook, after you've already got it working on this demo notebook. Once you've done that, it's working, it's iterating through all these things. You've let it run the whole time through all 100 languages. That's when you're done with this lesson and you're ready to submit. I've given you instructions on how to submit a notebook. And so congratulations on your first lesson. We're starting off real easy. I want you to walk away with a couple skills. How to load and save a notebook, how to interpret the cells of a notebook. There's text blocks and there's code blocks. Code blocks have input and output. The input is what you just see when it's a code block. The output is what happens when you run it. I want you to understand commenting because it's just really useful for, it's sort of a prerequisite to just getting the basic elements. And I want you to be able to run code within a notebook, the code I give you, to tweak code I give you, and to copy code into a notebook and be able to run that and get that working, assuming it was already working where you got it from. So we've made it through all that, and you have the basic skills that we can start in our next lesson to learn the basics of a programming language, always complemented with with a new demo that does something fun and interesting at a higher level, and hopefully it keeps all this relevant. So congratulations, you made it to this lesson, which might have been the hardest part, harder than making it through this lesson, which I'm sure you did just fine. And congratulations. I look forward to the rest of this.